The Whine and Cheese show is a Metaverse and NFT discussion interview series brought to you by Upland Development United and the host BEN68 and Morecheese. Warning, the information and opinions within are solely the views of the individuals involved, contains content not suitable for anyone.
Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 14 of the Whine and Cheese in the Metaverse show. I'm BEN68 and today Morecheeese and I spoke to Octavius, the founder and CEO of Crown Capital, which is a decentralized and autonomous organization focused on developing a strong presence in the play-to-earn metaverse.
We talked to Octavius about his hobbies, talents, and what he likes to do when he's not in the metaverse. We talked about his current business in the Upland and how it's going to evolve. And finally, we touched a bit on his side projects.
So get ready to say wow when you hear all about his DAO in what might possibly be a not-so-shitty episode of...
The worst show ever. I just made it worse.
Whine and Cheese. Time for Whine and Cheese. Whine and Cheese. Time for Whine and Cheese. Cheese. One is a wanker, one's slinging stunts. One's from Australia, one's from the Bronx. Talking about the Metaverse and NFTs. Interviewing all the real crypto G's.
Hello.
Pinkies up.
Pinkies up. What
I still
is
don't
this?
actually know what that means, but anyway.
It's what the Nasty Hooks
Like, yeah.
put in the song. Oh,
Fancy
because the
drinking
tea.
thing. That's
Yeah, but what does that have to do with wine and
Oh,
cheese?
the
Oh, because you're
wine, drink-
fancy. You're fancy.
Or the wine glass when you're holding your wine glass, even though I'm WHINE. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
It works out.
We
What
make it
are
up as
we?
we go along.
What are we now? 14?
Yes, episode 14.
14, that's crazy.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought we'd make it to 14?
I know. Well, no. I think we're doing good. Like in the beginning, I was like, this is not going to work. Like, I have no kind of charisma at all, but I'm goofy, so that works. That makes it,
I'm glad you went that angle. You didn't suggest that we know what the hell we're doing. So
yeah,
that's good. Cool.
that takes off all the freaking pressure.
Very cool.
So wait, today's the 24th. That means tomorrow's Thanksgiving, right?
I don't know. Thanksgiving's nothing, is it? Turkey? Who eats turkey? That's what we call.
Everybody now. My husband's from Finland. He loves turkey. He loves
That's what we call
cannolis.
idiots. Get out of here, you
Favorite thing
turkey.
is his favorite thing. Oh yeah, I'm not a chicken. You're a turkey.
Yeah.
It was an old drugs commercial from the 90s.
Yeah, no, we don't really do turkeys here.
Nah, they're okay. When I was able to eat meat, I would just collect the skin. I would trade everybody my white meat parts for all their skin.
It's all coming together.
Yeah.
You and your infatuation with
Put it on
skin.
my face and be like, hello,
Oh,
Clarice.
I gotta see a picture of that. That'd be hilarious.
I gotta see if I
Eye
have
holes
one.
and a mouth hole.
Yeah, it was like a tradition every Thanksgiving. So
Skin
I
game.
must have one.
Yeah.
Skin turkey face.
Skin
But-
game, I'd call it.
Did you sign up for the Block Explorers? I know you have one from last year.
Yeah. No,
But-
I didn't bother. I'm not going to be getting up at 1 a.m. to try and get a block explorer.
But
No
it's
way.
money.
Yeah, well, I just spent, well, I won't say, but yeah, I just purchased a whole bunch of UpX, and yeah, that's my budget blown for the next year. That's 2022 budget blown. So
Well, there you go. At least it's something you like and you want to do. That's your happy birthday budget.
there you go.
I mean, Merry Christmas budget.
That works too. I just had my birthday, and I didn't get myself a birthday present, so there you go, fair enough. That's how
Yeah,
I'll
your little
justify it to myself.
combination.
Every time I look at my Bitcoin wallet and see that it's gone down again, I'll just say, oh, well, that was my birthday present.
Oh man.
And then
Well,
in 5 years, I'll say that little birthday present could have bought me a new house.
well, you never know. Maybe it will.
Hmm.
Maybe you'll use it really wisely in the year 2022, and it will buy you a new house. Things that
I'll
make
be
you go,
I'll be content with paying off the old one. See how we go. All right, what do you got for us?
Well, I get these really cool Google news things in my phone, and one of the things that came up was this Thanksgiving parade event, which was from Macy's, is always sponsored from Macy's, and I'm so freaking excited for it because it's like the Macy's parade is a big thing here, right?
And what is Macy's? Is that like I picture that as like a kind of high nose, your nose raised in the air kind of shopping center mall.
It's like a department store. It's like a Sears kind of thing. You remember
Well, that
Sears?
means nothing to me. That means nothing. Over here we have something like, it'd be the equivalent of here, it'd be Myers or David Jones or something. That's like you could go to a cheaper department store, or you could, if you want to be a hobnob, you go to the expensive one. You can go and pay $5 for a shirt, or you can go and pay $100 for a shirt.
I get what you're meaning. I think this is right in between.
Okay.
Because like we have the Walmart for the $5 shirts. You have Macy's for like the middle end sort of stuff, and then you have like Bloomingdale's for the higher end stuff. But Macy's is like kind of like been around forever, same as Sears, and you could go in there. You could get like, you know, inexpensive things. I used to go in there for school shoes. I would get them for like 25. I mean, I'm older now, but I think I've gone there like recently. They always sponsor a Thanksgiving Day parade in the city in New York, and it's so beautiful. I've been to a few, and it's really nice. It's a really nice event, and this is amazing. So pretty much they have two sets of NFTs.
And these are Ethereum based, is it?
It's Polygon.
Oh, cool. Yep.
Which is really cool. So like the gas fees are bleh. And they're raising money to make a wish. And they have one-of-one epics NFT auctions, and they have about 4, 8, 9, 10 of them. And people are bidding. You can see the prices going up, and 100% of the bid proceeds go to Make-A-Wish.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's pretty spectacular. They're beautiful. I wish I can afford this sort of thing. I doubt they will. It's a 6-day, 10 hours left in the auction, so I'm sure these NFTs will go a lot higher, which is great because, you know, Make-A-Wish will get their money. And then if you scroll down, they have my cats are trying to be in this interview. They have coming soon the 9500 Parade NFT collection that they're putting out. Now, these will have a lot more quantities. They specify the rarities, and you know, at the bottom they'll say who's the artist, and designed by Realmetry, digital agency led by NFT artists. Then they go into what is an NFT, why is Macy's releasing an NFT.
Nice, that's what we want to see.
Exactly. Like so it says we're always looking to innovate our classic celebrations, and we're pulling out all the stops to celebrate 95 Macy's Thanksgiving Day parades. We've partnered with Sweet to create our own limited edition mint of 9,510 parade balloon NFTs. 10 will be auctioned off to benefit Make-A-Wish, and the remaining 9,500 are being given away for free.
Oh, wow. There you go. That's even better.
Plus, 10% of every sale of any NFT will also go to Make-A-Wish forever. All right, so that's so cool. So
that's the confusion that was going around. There you go.
maybe. Well, I mean, there shouldn't be any confusion if you like learn how to read things clearly.
And what's the prices on those? I don't think you said like that. Those 10 that are being auctioned. What sort of price range are we looking at?
So they have this Tiptoe one from 2020 is going. That's current bid is at 5,500. Then they have an Elf from the 2000s. That's going for 6,100. The highest one I see right now is the Toy Soldier from the 1920s. Wow, that's going for 8,600. It's beautiful though.
Okay. So that's good. That's it seems like those 10 that are going to be auctioned off, like what did you say, there's 6 days left, so I assume there's probably going to be pushed up probably closer to the, let's say, the 10 grand mark.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be good because that's going to create some media interest, and maybe that's what they're fishing for. Who knows? Yeah. So that gets people interested in, like, to click on the article or whatever it is. It's all about clicks these days. So you get people to click on the article, and then they've got those free ones. Or how do you get involved now? And then people think, well, I don't know what an NFT is, but here we go. I get something for free. Let's check it out. Someone just paid 10 grand for it. It must be pretty good. And next minute they do a search. What the hell is an NFT? And off you go, straight headfirst down the rabbit hole.
Sorry, sneezing like crazy. And also they have, how do I buy and sell? Do I need a digital wallet? And I think they even kind of offer you a digital wallet through themselves if you don't know how to create one. They say when you create an account with us and Sweet.io, a digital wallet will be created for you. So like they're willing to hold on to these for you if you don't want to go into all the hubbub. Now, the thing about the free NFTs, which is amazing, is that not only are they like 2 birds, 1 stone, they're giving people free NFTs to kind of either get started in the NFT world. They're bringing awareness, but they're also, even though they don't really have to because this is free, this is out of their hands, they're putting the 10% that they would get from secondary market to charity. So they're basically really getting nothing out of this.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool of Macy's. Macy's, good on you. And
it's cool to see them. Sorry, it's just cool to see them. The way you've described that there is they've removed the barrier to entry, which we know that's what Upland set up to be all about, was to completely remove the barrier to entry as far as dealing with wallets and all that sort of stuff. So that's amazing.
Now the thing is, I want to deep dive into this. I only have 1 day, and I'm sad I didn't, I should have got this from my phone earlier, but I'm wondering who's going to be sponsoring this with them, because I know that there are quite a few sponsors with Macy's, Starbucks being one of them. And I'm a big, I don't know if I have any Starbucks. I do have Dunkin', and I do have the Burger Kings and the McDonald's. So I have to do like a deep dive if Macy's is getting into this and they're getting into this. Like,
well, it's a snowball. You know what it's like. Once McDonald's does something, well, Burger King's going to do it, or whether it's Coke or Pepsi or whatever it is, Starbucks and whoever else the competitors are. Yeah. I wonder who the backer is behind it all. Like, I can't imagine Macy's just running this themselves. There must be some kind of back-end partner, helping them through the process. I don't know. Maybe there's somebody within Macy's who's all over the NFT space. I'm not sure, but
you never know. Yeah. I mean, it would be interesting to see who the sponsors are. Definitely, that would even give us more of a visual of who else is going to be coming into.
Yeah, an insight. Yeah.
But that's great. I love it.
definitely one to keep a close eye on, that's for sure. But yeah, anytime we can get the word out there further into the wider community, it's just going to help push the whole thing forward.
Yeah. Now, there was another thing that caught my eye. It's a thing called POAP. And the reason why it caught my eye was because it looks like a simple enough thing, but at the same time, like, there's steps you have to do within it, but it's kind of interactive. So basically, as they say it, POAP enables a new way of keeping long-lasting records of life experiences. A POAP is a digital collectible created as an NFT powered by the blockchain. So it's kind of like a badge NFT that you collect. And it's a unique badge that is supported by the cryptographic record. These badges are non-fungible and a whole new world of possibilities. Why use it? POAP allows event organizers to better engage with their audience by providing a customized experience. POAP not only offers special designs, but also for a range of integrated services such as private chat rooms, raffles, and more.
That seems like a NFT scrapbook for your life or something.
Exactly. And like users could generate their own POAP collections to prove the places they've been to and earn bragging rights. So like I was telling you before, it's kind of like how Instagram used to be in regards to, look at me, I'm here. You aren't, envy me.
Prove it, yeah.
Prove it. Like, here, I got this.
Yeah, well, wasn't there that whole thing where, you know, kind of C-grade, D-grade celebrities were hiring out? There was some fake jet that you can hire out for 10 minutes to go on and take photos and all sorts of shit for your Instagram account. And yeah,
well, I didn't know about that.
Hire
a
Lamborghini.
They were, like, manipulating backgrounds and oh, I'm on the beach today, so bored, and like they were in their backyard in the sand pit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's fun. So yeah, it'd be like, I assume, like life milestones as well, like, you know, married, kids, new job, or it could be a whole bunch of things. And that's the sort of stuff we've been talking about previously, where, you know, myself and yourself and many of our close friends are quite, not elderly, but older in the space, shall we say, and she knows jokes. And yeah, it's really going to be like my eldest son's generation that's really going to pick this up and run with it. And it's those kind of things, like, well, we're going to be the guinea pigs for it all, and they're just going to pick it up and run with it.
I think there's adults, and then I think there's adults in this space.
Yeah.
Which are, we aren't afraid to play the blockchain games again. We aren't afraid to kind of like say, you know, oh yeah, you know, I've been to this concert, and like, look, I think we're the young elders.
Yeah.
That was funny. I love that. Cause yeah, I mean, I'm no spring chicken. I don't care if people know I'm 42 and I still play video games, you know, I still go to concerts, and I would have loved this at a young age. Like if this was around when I was in the 90s, when I was when I went to all my Yankees parades for when they won the pennant, and I would have definitely used this to kind of prove I was there, sort of thing, and collect that, because that's a collection.
Yeah, I've got a story that's directly related to this too. Like when I was, you know, early 90s, mid 90s, kind of that era, I was going to, you know, 3 or 4 concerts every week, and I used to always keep my concert ticket and I'd put it in the front cover of the CD. Like I'd go and see White Zombie and I'd put the ticket in the front cover of the CD. Well, my house got broken into and all my CDs got stolen, which is fine. The insurance replaces all the CDs, but I lost all of that memorabilia, gone. So, you know, you can never get that stuff back. So having something as an NFT, well, that just shows you, you know, the benefit. I would still have that. There would still be, like those concert tickets, if I had that now, you could easily sell that on eBay for a few dollars, you know. So
yeah,
NFT's going to hold its value.
have your kids go flip through and be like, oh wow, like you went to a Rob Zombie concert, that's so cool, sort of thing. Like Octavius is going to be joining us in 2 minutes. He's got his tea. I think he's up.
Tea with his pinky up. Yeah, well, no, that's all very exciting. I love it.
Yeah. I'm like curious to deep dive more into this and see if maybe even Upland uses it in the future.
Well,
like imagine
who's to say we're not going to have a Macy's parade for real sponsored in Upland,
Yeah, or they have like a meetup in San Fran and you go there and you collect this like ticket that you were there. Like imagine owning that.
I'm pretty sure that we did a Thanksgiving parade last year. I think that's where the Block Explorer might have come from that I've got, or it might have been from some other bloody tour or something. I don't remember, but yeah. No, that's all very, very exciting and all heading in the right direction. How about any of your other favorite projects? Did you manage to get yourself one of those Tales of the Crypto? Last time we were talking, there was a drop about to come.
Yes, I was able to do a trade with Morgo, and he's so cool. The whole community there is cool. I just love Tales of the Crypto, and I just can't wait to get them in here one day. Wink, wink, and just like learn more about all of their stuff and their new game coming up. Oh my God, you really need to start getting into it. I know you you collect your 68s, collect the 68s from them. It's I think it's worth it. I think because they're in 3-for-1. They're Warsaken, they're Wax Arena, and now they're their own game. So that's like a hat trick.
Yeah, I'm kind of in a tricky spot at the moment. I want to buy some more NFTs, but in order for me to buy some NFTs, I have to sell some, and I'm not really. I've had a look through the inventory list. There's not much there that I'm willing to let go of. So
I'm trying to sell some that I don't plan on using anymore, but it just doesn't seem to be selling, which doesn't surprise me. But if it does, I'm just like, I'll be glad for anything. Maybe if I could get a wax for it.
Nice. Yeah. Just one wax, please. Yeah.
Just a wax, please, sir.
What's that, like 80 cents or something? 70 cents?
About, yeah. Oh my God. Freaking wax is going crazy. Crazy sauce.
You've got cats going off. I've got cockatoos going off. Yeah.
I think my cats, they fell asleep. That's good.
Tell me the secret. I'm going to put these cockatoos to sleep. Yeah, I've got to go and deal with this.
All right.
Sorry.
I'll do like a little dance.
Sorry.
Cockatoos. Just throw them a little bread. Oh, that was fast. That was fast. You get them with the Uzi?
I just have to open the door now. They see me. It's that one in particular, Snappy, we call him, because one of his legs is snapped around the wrong way.
Oh, with like a born like that sort of thing?
Oh, I'd imagine it was some kind of injury. All of them,
Motorcycle.
all the cockatoos are busted up somewhere. They're pretty rough birds.
Jesus.
Yeah. They got to fight pythons and goannas and all sorts of stuff. So.
Did you say a goanna?
Yeah.
A goanna.
Boy.
All right, so back in the 90s, there was this guy named Joe Cartoon, and he made fun of that Aussie guy who went around with the animals, and he called it a goanna humper. Oh my God, it's so freaking hilarious. It sounds stupid.
It's not going to be like that other super hilarious thing you just sent me that was cringe.
Dunkaroos is not cringe.
It's cringe.
Dunkaroos, you don't just eat Dunkaroos.
Well, who was that then? That wouldn't have been Steve Irwin. Was that someone before Steve Irwin?
Irwin.
Oh, was Steve Irwin?
It was kind of a homage, kind of. Or they did it before he died. Where the hell is it? All right, you have to go to the what? Oh my God. Hey.
Oh, it's the Animal Wrangler episode.
Oh my God, I need Cody. Where's Cody?
Right, so your cats can slap him to get their energy out.
You got to go to the 1 minute mark, and that's when it starts. I guess they do like a little homage because after this was recorded, he passed away.
Oh God. Oh. Joanna, oh, but here we go. Pity our listeners can't see it. Oh, they have a thing at the front. A disclaimer.
Yeah, you got to go to the 1 minute mark. I got to throw water on my cats. Oh my God.
God, I can't even stomach 2 seconds of that. That's the worst Australian accent I've ever heard. No, I'm not subjecting myself to that nonsense. Yes. That's just horrendous. But yeah, if you want to hear some real Australian accents and you're in the Upland community, you will get the chance to do so very soon. We're working on something that's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, tell me about that.
No, we can't yet. All I can say is that it's going to be and some Aussies and some Kiwis getting together as we often do. There he is.
Hey, how's it going?
Good mate.
Good. Good. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. So we are on 3 different time zones.
Yes.
Yes. Sorry to screw you up with the scheduling. Time zones just do my bloody head in, mate.
I know, right? And those Americans insist that we do daylight savings, and so we're all like confused.
Well, I
Just to
don't
further
do daylight
complicate
savings
things.
in Arizona. It's the only state in the U.S. that doesn't do it.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense why we're all okay.
We're all
Cool.
jumbled. Oh man, but yeah, it's good to have you on. I was meaning to get you on. I used to hear you talk in the Upland Cafe, and I was the one that was like, "Oh, you sound so fancy." As I told Ben, you could give our Dub a run for his money.
Awesome.
We use him to do our disclaimers in the beginning of all our videos because he's just so charming with the way he speaks, and he's done such a great job.
Yeah, I've caught you in the cafe a few times. I always manage to only catch the very tail end of things, so it's always
Just
cool
when
to
you're
see.
waking up, I think.
Probably, yeah. It's always cool. Or just when I'm doing the dishes, getting ready to go to bed. Yeah, it's always cool to hear like people such as yourself jumping in and dropping some wisdom.
And
I mean, everything sounds smarter with my accent, so I don't know how wise it actually ends up being. But yeah, look.
Everything sounds dumber with mine.
Yeah, and mine.
No, you're in the fancy part.
Fancy for an Australian accent. I've never heard that before.
I mean, I'm from New York, so anything is like fancy to us.
No.
But yeah, basically, so this episode is about you, Octavius, and before we get into any of your projects, like kind of like talk about yourself, hobbies. What do you like to do when you're not on a computer and not in a metaverse?
Gosh, I mean, yeah, I like to cook. I actually do like to cook, and I'm a foodie in general. So, you know, like I've actually got 2 friends who are on the Discord with me, and I'm like, you know, let's not have a conversation yet. Let's go have dinner. So we'll go and do some, you know, tastings and stuff. And then I'm a big movie person. So for me, the hardest part of COVID was actually the cinemas locking down.
So what kind of foods do you like to cook?
I really like anything with an Asian twist or Indian. So I like cooking. I wok quite a lot. And then I like rustic food done well, right? So if you're going to do a burger, it better be a damn good burger. You can't improve on a steak that's seasoned properly. So as opposed to, in other words, I like gourmet for desserts, but I like rustic done well for or homely cooking done well for like the main course. So, cottage pie, shepherd's pie, anything along those lines is going to serve me well. Like, for me, like if I'm on death row, I'm going to ask for a rack of ribs, with a proper barbecue sauce and chips. So
nice and hearty. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And what about movies? What kind of movies do you like?
Well, right now, June is on my mind. I've already watched it 3 times. So I'm super into sci-fi and fantasy, big Harry Potter geek. And then I also like anything in the criminal space, legal dramas, and anything with psychopaths. I really like Criminal Minds kind of things, because I like how when they delve deep into the psychology of those things. It's just it's unpacking a complex topic. Because for example, a lot of my friends are into Marvel, and probably my biggest pet peeve with Marvel is firstly that the world blows up once a week. It's like, well, when did they rebuild it again? Like when did they rebuild it again? Yeah. But the second thing that always annoys me is you've got these like cosmic bad guys who are like 10 billion years old, and they've got this like one-sided flat reason for trying to take over the world. It's like, like in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, right? The dude who's like trying to take over the whole world is like, well, because I'm ego. And it's like, okay, but can't we just make them a bit more complex? So I like things like Hannibal Lecter and stuff like that, which have a much more complex reason for being so screwed up.
You're talking Cheese's language there. You missed it at the start where she was telling us how when she was a child she used to trade her turkey meat for turkey skin. She was a skin collector.
And I would do the Hannibal Lecter quotes with it on.
Oh, wow.
I don't know. See, Ben. All right, so have you seen the Seth MacFarlane sci-fi?
The Star Trek ripoff?
Yes.
I haven't actually. Is it worth seeing?
It's clever. I didn't think it was going to be as clever as it was. See, all right, so if I were to pick my favorite space kind of show, sitcom or whatnot, it would be Red Dwarf, actually.
Oh,
so
interesting.
Like
okay.
Late 80s, early 90s. I thought it was the best for its time. Just the right amount of funny. So many scientific references, but layman termed, like
it was a funny version of Babylon 5.
Yeah, and it was so clever. Like every episode was spectacular. The first episode was a little slow, so I always give things the 3 episode go, and this kind of was not as great because you can't outdo a classic, but it came really close.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone like Seth MacFarlane, which is like, you just know him for that crass humor, he really did evolve this into a clever humor. And especially with the crew, like every crew member had their own culture and came from their own planet and had their own rules, and it was very kind of like, all right, so we have to keep an open mind because we're part of this united universe now, instead of like United Nations. And if they don't like females and they kill off all their females on their planet, we have to kind of respect that sort of thing. And how do we go around it? Because and then it gets to the point where do they step in to intervene without getting in trouble with their corporation? And then like that's just one aspect of it. Then they have the robot planet, which I thought was the coolest, like because the robots kind of took over after they destroyed their masters, and they teamed up. I don't want to give out too much information on what
Sounds
you're
like
watching.
spoilers here. Spoilers.
I know,
Yeah.
no, but it's just so much more than
10-year-old
that. Like that's
spoilers.
just a tiny tip of it. I was amazed at how well they came up with all of this. Especially the ending was amazing.
Right.
Because you can't say that about.
Okay, well,
Dexter,
we'll have to leave something for people to still see, right? So we'll leave them the ending.
I won't say the ending. I gave a little bit. I didn't give too much. There's so much more. So much more.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I'm a major Trekkie. I mean, I like Star Wars, but Star Trek has always been my favorite. Before, like after, like as a series. I mean, Dune is my definite favorite by far. Yeah.
So you would like this.
Yeah, I remember watching a few episodes growing up of Red Dwarf.
All right.
Yeah, because it's a 90s show.
Yeah,
So
like
I'm a kid of the 90s. Yeah.
I was really big into British comedy at that time, like Space. There was another Space one with the oh my god, it was so funny. I can't remember the name. I'll get it for you after this, but it was, I know the beginning episode was they were in a conference room in the spaceship and it was going through why you shouldn't sleep with aliens.
Uh-huh.
It was silly. It wasn't as clever. It was more silly fun. But
Cool.
yeah. What about in regards to art? Like, are you like there's so many types. Are you a writer? Are you kind of
I'm more on the, I mean, I used to, when I was growing up, I worked a lot with clay. So clay was very interesting to me in painting, but I moved quickly into the collector space. I was much more an appreciative art than a creative art. I come from a very artistic family. I've got a cousin, Kelly Hoppen in England, who is twice knighted, as England's most famous interior decorator.
wow.
And I've got her brother, headed the Getty collection of photography, and their mother's, runs an art gallery and came out with prints. So I come from a very decorative family. Both my grandparents on both sides, used to go to auctions a lot and collect, and my mother and father used to collect. So I was very much more in the collector curator space. So it was like, I was always interested when I walked into a room, like, how should things play together? People who look at Kelly Hoppen's work, for example, it's quite minimalistic. And I say to people who are like looking at the book, they're like, well, but why is she so famous? I'm like, everyone mixes East and West these days. Like, you'll get a conference room and there'll be a Buddha at the back. I'm like, she did that first. It now seems obvious. It doesn't seem like a major breakthrough, but every artistic movement usually just pushes the barrier a little bit, right? Like, the famous joke, like a kid goes to the Guggenheim Museum, shout out to our Guggenheim Museum in New York over there. And he goes, Mom, I can do that. It's just blocks of paint, right? And she's like, yes, but you didn't. Right? The fact that you can do it now doesn't change that Picasso's weird mind or Van Gogh's weird mind first thought up that idea that we're all building on, right? You have the same in fantasy. We can criticize Tolkien all we want, that he dragged it on some of those chapters. But he was the first one to successfully world build an entire ecosystem that we now have evolved, added to, diversion. Like every elf, every way we think of an elf or an orc is pretty much built on Tolkien, right? And so that is the part that always interests me. Like in the NFT space, like I've got friends who are like, why CryptoPunks? Like what? I'm like, because it was the first, because it was the first to say, we're going to create a collection with immutable characteristics and it's going to be randomized and, and then people will brand themselves based on it. And this will become their avatar personality on Discord. And then Boards Ape Yacht Club takes it to the next level. And so I've got a collector mindset. Like when I, go into a new game, like I look in Upland, for example, like the first thing is like, how do I get my hand on Wall Street? Like, how do I get my hands on curators? Because, when I went into Axie Infinity, I couldn't help myself. I had to go and look at the Mystic Axies because it's like they've got something different. Like they're one of 1,000 at the time when I was first looking at Axie, there were 800,000 Axies already. And there's only 1,000 that have these immutable characteristics. So that's my mentality. But yeah, I was going to auctions from the age of 9. I actually collected Royal Dalton character jugs, which are beer mugs. Ben, you've probably seen them before, right? Everyone in Aussie has like in their like home bars, or like the man caves used to have those like beer mugs, right? Because the Aussies were big collectors of
the grandparents. The grandparents would have them. Yep.
Exactly. So I was collecting those because I found that most porcelain always try to make humans look perfect. Right, you want to catch them in like a dance or a ballerina in a perfect pose. And if you go and Google Royal Dalton character jugs, you'll see that they're not trying to be pretty, right? They were made for guys. They were kind of like, a dude's collectible. It's like, you've got to convince the wife, okay, fine, I'll have some decorative art. Can I have these beer mugs in my man cave? So that was like the first, like, we're not going to try and be pretty. And I really like that they did a whole collection on presidents and on generals and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And then I got very into Asian art as I was entering my teens. I became very fond of jade in particular, because jade is a very difficult material to carve. And yet they were able to do, amazing work with that. And then after private banking, I started working in the antique trade for a while after all the regulations changed. And so I'm still quite a well-known authority on jewelry authentication. The most interesting thing that, I'll get caught up now and then when they, want an expert opinion on Victorian jewelry. Like there's a few auctions houses that I work for. And I just authenticated recently a Tsar Nikolai era ring. So basically anyone who's familiar with Russian jewelry will know the name Fabergé, right? He made those imperial eggs. But the House of Fabergé was also commissioned regularly by noble families and by the monarchs to create, honorary gifts and stuff like that. And so the Tsar would often give his top generals rings. And there's a lot of knockoffs. And so, a knockoff one may be worth 4,000, an authentic one may be anywhere between, 38,000 and 200,000. So it's quite an important thing for them to be able to authenticate if all the pieces add up. So that's very interesting to me. And to answer your original question, I'm definitely more in the collector space. A little bit of creative writing, but very much a collector. And my first kind of equivalent experience with NFTs was I was in Second Life for like 10 years. And I started heavily collecting over their early artists. A few of them now work for Disney and different things. I would just build these studies, wall to wall with kind of digital artwork. And the part that really clicked for me, why NFTs was like so obvious to me when it finally came out, was I had 90,000 collectible items that I didn't have to insure, that I didn't have to pack up, that couldn't break, that didn't have to be moved. And on top of it, we don't socialize the same way anymore, right? No one, if you go to auctions, no one's buying huge dining tables and silverware anymore. We don't do these 20, 40 people parties anymore. And even if we do, we don't pull out the silver because no one wants to hire maids to polish and all of that. And so we're all socializing so much more online that, what VV did, where you could kind of scan your NFT and take a photo with it to put in your Instagram, that's so much more our era. And the same for me in Second Life. It was, hey, you want to come over and see my collection? Teleporting over is like 30 seconds, right? Whereas who's coming to see all of my stuff? And so I had all these collections. I sold my Royal Dalton collection to a museum in the end because it's like, I'm just worrying about it in the cupboard. I'm worrying about insurance. No one's seeing it. No one's enjoying it, even though I'm not enjoying it. So what's the point? And so when NFTs started taking off, I'm like, this is amazing. I mean, baseball cards, they're only they're not worth, like I was a big Magic the Gathering player and collector too. Those cards, the cardboard itself was worth 20 cents, 18 cents. The value is not in the stuff. So for people to say, wow, why is something digital worth all this money? Well, but it wasn't worth anything as cardboard. At least we don't have to now get it authenticated. We don't have to get, it can't bend and break and have a score based on how damaged it is. I mean, all of that has now been replaced. I don't have to, you know how many horror stories of magic cards that have got lost in shipping? Right? As if I'll ship, it's like, as my brother explained to my mother, he said, Mom, the cloud actually exists somewhere, right? I mean, you do understand someone has to have a server farm somewhere. It's the same with shipping. If you ship cards, they do have to be delivered by human beings who lose things, break things, smash things. And so I'd much rather trust the Ethereum network to send my expensive NFT to someone else and curate my collection that way, and have it on OpenSea and Immutable X, and just do good security measurements with my seed phrases and stuff, then try and curate these magic cards that end up sticking to the book and stuff. So yeah.
What do you think about that whole angle where there's talk within the NFT community of introducing wear on NFTs? So every time you send the NFT, or it gets bought or sold, or even anytime somebody views the NFT, you yourself, I believe, it's going to lower its score or something. I feel that's just moving in the complete opposite direction.
I think it's silly. I think they're trying to create. They're experimenting with burn mechanics, right? They're trying to create scarcity. I just think there's better ways to create scarcity. Rather burn your thing in order to get a unique aspect to your thing, right? Like, for example, Blocktopians just came out this week. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but they're introducing a burning mechanic where if you burn a few, you can then get a special animation. And so that increases the value of your remaining Blocktopans while burning the supply. I think that's much more important. Where I do think that point is relevant is in games, right? Gaming NFTs should be able to get some wear and tear, right? If you've got a sword, I'm not pro at completely breaking, because that's actually very difficult to do on the wallet, but maybe it needs a sharpening, maybe it needs an upgrade, because that then creates a realism to that economy, right? Whereas this just feels like we're trying too hard. And then it just becomes stressful. Wait, I now need to go and check the blockchain. It's like, have they, and then you'll have people trying, like with cars, right? You try and turn back the dial to make it look like it's a run mess, right? Like, you don't need that extra kind of BS happening. So yeah, I don't see the point. But I'm always open to creative forms of burning mechanics. So if someone comes up with a creative form of burning mechanics where after 5 times, it may evolve into something else, right, where it's got a 50% chance of being good or bad, okay, you see this actually in Axie Infinity with the original Mystic Axies, which were 25% of the 4,000 origin Axies. So there are collectors who will pay more for Axies that have never bred. The Axies can breed up to 7 times. There is a premium because it's like mint out of the box, right? That's what they're playing with over here, right? Like one of the most extreme things where you've seen price differentials is actually in toy collectibles. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but in toy collectibles, an unboxed version versus in its box unpacked ever can often be 2 or 3 times the price. And the reason is because toys were meant to be played with. And so an anomaly that large that goes against its entire purpose of being is a real premium. And the same in Axie. No one knew these Axies would be so valuable. The purpose of Axies originally was to breed them. And so if you chose not to breed them, it's like keeping it in its container. And so, yeah.
And how do you think that relates to, like, I know you are big in the space within Upland as far as, getting your hands on all of those high value collections and then sharing them out to share the
temporary swaps,
the money that can come through that. Like, all of that transactionary history is tied to those NFTs forever. Like, I know with my Wall Street set, I was kind of the background instigator of the 50-50 swap kind of deal. And every man and his dog's been all over my Wall Street set. I did have somebody at the time say, aren't you worried about that they're going to lose their value? And I didn't really think of it at the time, but, is that something you're concerned about yourself?
No, I think in the short term it does, but I think that only really matters for something which really has never been traded. Not in words, I don't think it relates to your specific item. I think it relates to the entire set. So if Billionaires Row has never had trades, not that specific property, but the entire collection, or Painted Ladies, the entire collection has never had, that adds an extraordinary FOMO, because then that's a hard to attain badge. Whereas if you're saying your specific Greek town has never been traded, but who cares, everyone's got the badge, then the entire collection, I really think, has been affected by that. However, I think it's a short-term mechanic, because right now our plan is little more than a tradable game. But at some point, it will have utility. And then it's like, who cares who visited my Wall Street? I'm running the business here. This is the famous Blocky Sprawl store. You came here as a 50, on the contrary, it will add nostalgic value. Someone will say, hey, I want to go to that store because I once did a temporary store. I've actually held that property before. But now, it's like I have to visit. So I think once we get proper utility, I don't think it will matter too much. But in the short term, absolutely. Upland was asking about that, and I agree. I think in the short term, but I know that Turbo, he's always, I guess, but he's like, I'm like, dude, S219 has been traded like so many times. He's just, but mine haven't been. I'm like, okay, but I don't think that really matters. I think we're looking at the collection as a whole, and everyone has the chip, mate.
So like Ben kind of segued into that. That's a good segue, like to talk about your Discord. I see you as a self-made businessman within the metaverse and the services you offer. So what happens when Upland kind of creates a roadblock to it in regards to let's say, for example, you swap with somebody and there's a cooldown, or you get
there is an example of that already, right? USD. If you think about it, if you ever want to sell your something, like a lot of people will not do their trades because of USD status.
So what's stopping them from doing that with swapping?
Well, I think swapping is on a timer anyway. I don't think by second quarter next year, temporary. I think they're just going to phase out the bonus, right? I think, I predicted that they're going to knock away this referral bonus. And not only predicted, I asked for it constantly because it was the biggest area of abuse I was seeing. The referral bonus was, I saw, 18 million Apex worth of, I would call referral bonus abuse, in the sense that people were not breaking the rules, but they were recycling the money, right? Like I got one guy sent to Alcatraz because I'm like, I was originally doing Apex sales before they stopped allowing that. But one guy came to me and said, hey, I've got 1.2 million Apex to sell. I said, great, I paid him. Then 3 days later, he's got 3 million Apex to sell. And then he's got 8 million Apex to sell. And then at 14 million Apex, I contacted Apple. I said, what's going on? And he was not, according to his words, and Upland originally said he's not doing anything wrong and then put him in Alcatraz. But what he said he was doing, he was just onboarding new people. But he was sending them the money to their PayPal to buy the Apex, then selling the Apex for them and rinsing and repeating the process. And so I said, look, this is a legal loophole. You need to stop the referral bonus program because this is devaluing Apex. And, we're already at a more mature stage in 219, 220. So, cap it at 100,000 Apex or something. That's still a nice incentive for some. The people are already here, right? They're already playing. If they're about to spend money, I think Upland originally didn't want to because they were earning a ton of money from, that initial buy. But I think they saw how bad that was hurting things. So now that the referral bonus has been knocked out, I think the one-time bonuses on finishing collections is going to end somewhat by second quarter next year as well. It's just unneeded, right? It's unnecessary. You're already getting the income boost if you've completed collection. And it's usually a huge boost, right? A red collection, maybe 2.4 times. For people who are doing their, APY, return on investment and stuff, it's already huge. So what is the reason? The chip, they can keep the chip. Keep the chip, because then the diehard collectors will try and get their chips. But there doesn't need to be a one-time bonus. So I've always expected that to go away.
So how would you kind of evolve from that? Because I know you kind of have your business set in there, and which was a smart business. Like if it's there, take it,
Yeah.
How would you kind of evolve from there if they did away with that?
Well, I'm a market maker mentality. So when I came to Upland, I just looked what was missing. And part of what was missing, I had a chat with Thank Me Later, I really did come at the right time, right? In other words, a lot of the things I started trying, UDU tried before me, right? And Thank Me Later tried before me, and Mixflick tried before me. There just wasn't enough of a volume of whales to do the kind of brokerage I was doing. And then when I arrived, there was, and that's evolving. Now, you know, the business licenses are going to come out. Who knows what new business opportunities there'll be? I just saw that Upland was not, you know, Upland coming soon was not providing a lot of things that people needed. Like the currency exchange, I think there was a bad move on their part, not because ultimately it shouldn't go away, but it's going to stifle the free market right now that people can't transfer UPEX to each other, right? They haven't even they haven't monetized yet, you know, the legits, for example, right? So you can't sell those yet. So people in this space don't like their assets that can't be moved, can't be sold. And so that, I was creating those markets, but I'll keep evolving. I mean, I've only been in Upland since June.
I can't wait to see what you come up with. I think you're very clever, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, we keep saying, I was just going to say, we keep saying within the team, they're constantly putting the cart before the horse. Yeah. And if you do that, then the community is going to address it, you know, which is exactly what you've done, you know. It's kind of, it's frustrating because, you know, and we've seen this now with the Christmas decoration thing that's coming online, which we've been saying for eternity. If you don't have the time or the resources to do it, tell us the specs for what you wanted to do. The community will build it, and you just got to sign off on it, you know.
Yeah. Give it to the community.
100%. Yeah. They divert. They keep exactly. That was my biggest criticism of the NFLPA legits, was that you clearly are struggling with your roadmap, and don't tell me that you've hired, you know, a whole new team of programmers to put the NFL. You're diverting resources. We know you're diverting human resources. And Dan even said as much. He's like, look, we were kind of working towards an international city, but. Right? Or as if, you know, as if it didn't take their whole team a month to be able to roll out 4 cities that fast, right? I mean, the entire team had, so anyone who was working on Block Explorer stores or anything else had to drop that to get onto this. And that's what I felt was unfair, because first and foremost, we came here for the Monopoly game. And you're giving us this chicken and egg problem always, where it's like, you're giving us the decorations for our homes, but we can't even enter through the front door yet.
Yeah.
I think they were backed against the corner, to be honest. I think they had like a contract that they let like go too far, and they had to kind of backtrack, and their organization skills were bad. I think this whole Animoca thing is hopefully will kind of get them back on track. But
yeah, I think it will. Because you know, unlike NFLPA, which is really not Big Brother over here, the NFLPA is like, yeah, okay, we'll agree, use our stuff. I don't think they're checking in on them. But Animoca follows their investments very closely. I mean, there was just a terrible $1.2 million scam attack on Phantom Galaxies. And Animoca's basically, they bypassed the bot and then used it to get to the moderators' powers, kicked out all of the moderators, and then posted in the official announcements a drop, and people went and spent money. The Animoca's CEO says, we've backed this project. We are going to pay the 1.2 million and refund everyone. So Animoca doesn't mess around if they take money, put money in investment. They're in Sandbox, they're all over the place. And so, you know, Upland has got in bed with a group who's all over the metaverse. This is not like a standard Wall Street group where you can say, look what we've done. And they're like, wow. Animoca's like, we're also in Sandbox. This is not acceptable. They doing this, you can do better. So Upland, from the community's point of view, I think Upland has got in bed with the perfect partner. From Upland's point of view, I think they're about to find that their Asian bosses are going to be sitting on top of their head all the time.
I hope so.
Which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
So now, besides Upland, you have other projects. And
well, just to finish on Upland, because you did ask. So right now, where we focused in work-wise in Upland is we're still waiting for Apex World to come back. But the primary businesses we'll be doing is I still do brokerage, predominantly for high net worth players. Okay, so that's my main core business. Then we do auctions, which we're now resuming hopefully this week. And then a new business that in the last 4 months has really taken off for me has been escrow services. Meaning a lot of people are still doing OTC deals. And, I don't know if you've noticed, but the criminal activities in Upland really increased in the last 5 months, right? With theft of temporary swap, just finding people trying to pay out via PayPal and then the person just running off with the properties. So I'm getting regularly now where people will come to me, and apparently TD used to do this, and I think you've done this too, Ben, where people are like, hey, can you hold this item for me and then make sure that both sides have paid and then release the item. So I get paid a fee for that. And so those are my 3 core things that I'm continuing in Upland until we know more. Once we know more with business licenses, then I'll see. I would really like to have some cafes. I've got all the great properties for them. So I'd really like to have some cafes. Especially if we get custom building. So that's what we're doing right now in Upland, but we'll see what's happening. I'm not super excited personally for the legit stuff yet. So I just don't know what to do with that money wise.
Yeah, I want to sell them for money. I don't want to trade them. Don't.
So for now we just we give those channels as community like channels where people can just do stuff whatever they want. But those are the 3 areas where I make my bread and butter.
I think your escrow thing sounds extremely amazing. And I think that's a great way to evolve from what you're doing. And kudos to you, because that is a big thing. It's like you could either you see a problem and you solve it. Yeah. That's a business. That's the perfect way to come up with the best thing to kind of, reach the people. And if I ever needed to, do that, I'll definitely contact you.
Yeah, for example, it always happens with airport terminals, actually, because I'll have these clients who are buying anyway, and they'll say to me they're looking for airports, and then they'll come to me and say, hey man, I actually found an airport terminal. I've agreed on a price, but I don't know who the hell this dude is. I mean, he's a new player, but he knows who you are. And so he's willing to, he wants to be paid in Ethereum. I'm fine with that, but can you be the escrow? So instead of taking, the 5 to 10% for brokerage, I take the auction rate of 3% to just do the escrow. And again, it's great because it's leveraging a brand, right? It's leveraging that people have come to trust me. And so why can't I continue to monetize that?
Exactly. That's
you should great. Do it too, Ben. I mean,
Ben's busy enough.
I wish I had the time. Yeah, I have been contacted. I do it more so. Way back in the day, there was that escrow situation, but for me nowadays, it's more so of just kind of, because I've been around for 2 years within the community, is someone will say, have you heard of this guy? And I'll check and yeah, he's solid. I know that person. Or I know that she's fine. It's more that sort of thing for me.
Yeah, and TD is very busy. I mean, he hardly has any time anymore.
Absolutely.
He's very busy with NTF Gamer.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Angela, you were asking me. Okay, next projects after Upland.
I want to know about. All right. So, I'm so sorry. I missed one of your messages to me. I get a lot of messages. I'm very deep into my NFT art, and I get a lot of custom orders. I do all the NFTs for the show, and I have a lot of people that I collab with. So a lot of messages go unseen, and I miss maybe 3 or 4 messages a week.
Oh wow!
And I'm sorry, people out there, that I apologize. And I'm just going through my messages, trying to find something else, and I pop up against yours, and I'm like, what is this? I know Octavius, and I'm like, all right. I start reading into it, and it's a game called Morecheeese, and there's a video on there, and I watched the video, and I'm like, send you a message, and I just want you to kind of deep dive into it, and I would love to hear you talk more about it.
Sure. So I've been really waiting for the gaming studios to start arriving. And I didn't, because I've come from the banking world, I know that the real big gaming studios are going to take their time because of all the legal restraints and stuff. But when I started seeing things like Gala arrive, or these 3 Aussie boys, actually, the Illuvium guys, the Warwick brothers, I'm like, finally, we're starting, we're moving into the next stage of NFTs and blockchain gaming. And Gala is very, very impressive. And so I'd seen Gala already in July, because Mixplick and Noise to Meet You are very big over there. And they had already poked me and said, hey, have you checked this? Have you seen this? And I did. And when I was looking originally, I'm like, with 50% sold out, and the Citadels were at 3 million, and the towns were at like 200K each, 100K. And I'm like, I just can't do this. I'm too small to do this and all of that. And then I looked again at the end of September, and I was talking to Satoshi's View Wall Street, and I'm like, dude, holy shit, they've like sold out like 84%. And, and I'm like, you know what, let's see if there's interest. And so I asked around the community, and I said, I don't know, can we get a Town of the Prince? Could we raise 200K or 100K for the Town of the Morecheeese? Can we do it? And so I put together a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, and we raised 100,000 in 8 days or something. And we bought a Town of the Morecheeese. And then we started escrowing for the next Town of the Morecheeese, and we were at like 30,000. And then Gala pumped 40%. And overnight, the remaining $2.5 million worth of buildings and land deeds had sold out. So we quickly turned around and went to OpenSea and bought ourselves a ranching hamlet that the next 3 days we bought for 20K. It's now at 60K. And then we quickly bought an inn. And then we started offering people for their stuff. We said, hey, why don't you come into our consortium? You've got this elf, you've got this building, bring it in and we'll give you equity in our DAO. And then we're like, hold on, why are we putting this all together? What about Axie, Illuvium? And so whatever, we've got a DAO that's worth now close to 700,000 in 5 games. And Illuvium hasn't even dropped yet. We're waiting for that to drop in January, but we've escrowed about like 160,000 for the Illuvium land drop. And now we're working with Stirs Merlin to take our token public. And so, yeah, so we're in Miranda's Echoes of Empire, which is also part of the Gala ecosystem. Echoes of Empire is very much a 4X space opera. Illuvium is, as I said, by the Warwick brothers, and that is going to have a mining aspect as well as like a Final Fantasy auto chess kind of game where you hunt for the alluvials first to put together your team. So instead of just getting a booster pack, you go and hunt for your boosters, if you will. And then you put together a team and they do kind of esports stuff. So it's Axie Infinity, but to the next level. And then the other one we're interested in is Axie Infinity. We've got some, scholars over there. And then we're in Guild of Guardians, which is very classic kind of World of Warcraft style, you put together a guild, you go on quests, you come back with the resources, you bring them to your guild, you make swords and stuff, you sell them on the market. So these are the things we're watching. And then Lucasfilms has just teamed up with the previous employees of Disney, and they're bringing out a game called Metalcore in January, which is going to be very much, what's that movie? Pacific Rim. It's that kind of style. So these are the games we're watching at the moment.
Nice. Oh my gosh.
But so my favorite is Miranda's. So if we want to loop on Miranda's, we can loop on Miranda's.
I was going to ask you which one is your favorite. The one with the L kind of sounded interesting to me as well.
Yeah, I'm a major history geek and a fantasy geek. So to me, what Miranda's is going to bring together is 3 fantastic things. You're going to have your grind, which is great from an NFT point of view, because you want to be able to onboard people from third world nations or just people who like the RuneScape model, right? Like imagine being paid for playing RuneScape. It's a fantastic thing. So every business in that game requires natural resources that people need to go and get. So you've got your grind aspect. So it's like, people are going to come into the town and say to the forge master, hello, sir, do you need wood? And how much will you pay for wood? And he'll say, I'll pay you $2, per kilogram. And then they'll go and get the wood and bring it back and sell him. And then he needs the ore, and then he'll sell the sword for 10, and make it 25%. So you've got that whole economy. Then you have the dudes who are going to be questing and going to kill orcs and stuff to get rare material and rare metals and stuff. So you've got the questing, the Final Fantasy side of things. And then you've got the social element where you've got these towns, which are hubs. That's where I love being involved. Wave my hand and heal people. I got one of the elves that cost whatever, like, I don't know, it's like $12,000 now. I didn't pay that, but I've got, I get to play Jesus because the elf can heal anyone when the sun is shining. So, if I'm going to be the town administrator, I get to walk around and go, may you be healed, which is that whole kind of, medieval, like Tudor era noble who walks out and gives, coins and gives everyone a blessing because, the monarch is kind of like the head of the church. So you've got that whole kind of, and elves are so rare in Miranda's. There's only 1,000 of them and 200 in each category that it will almost be like the Bored Apes thing, right? It'd be like, holy shit, that town's got like 5 elves. Like, come, you've got to see this. So you've got that whole aspect too. So yeah, I'm going to be sitting in the taverns, doing business deals, negotiating as an administrator.
Have you ever played Lost Relics?
I haven't, but a lot of friends have played Lost Relics. But I used to run, let me see if I can share my screen.
Oh, let me give you permission.
Okay. Yeah, let me open.
Where is it? All right.
Okay, let's see, 1 second.
Unfortunately, this might have to be the last little part because unfortunately I've got annoying work to get ready for.
Okay. All right, so let's do.
We have to have you on for a second
Absolutely.
show just to talk about this.
Okay, so share screen.
I feel like we've barely scratched the surface.
I know.
Okay, so let me go to the picture pool. So this, I used to run a medieval Tudor era. So this was my character in Lundy. And then, and we had a whole bunch of designers who kind of like literally built everything here. So everything was built.
Oh, like
and, and we had 400 active, this was our cosplay. And so, this aspect to me is really, really fun.
Yeah.
Here's my study, for example.
You're right. It's like digital cosplay.
Here's where all my collectibles. I would put all my collectibles in my shelf and stuff.
It's very Sims 4-like. Is that kind of like the way it ran?
Yes.
I'm a big Sims 4 fan.
Yeah. So Second Life is really just a platform, right? Like that's why it struggled after Facebook came out, because it just is that platform aspect. And so Second Life was always built around its name, Second Life, as high fidelity and immersion as possible. And so Second Life was always focused on giving artists ability to render with ZBrush and the best graphics possible. And then we would create these spaces. So we had this literally a 66,000 square meter plot. And then we divided into a forest, into a town, into residences, and
it looks really cool. One last question for you, and then we definitely have to talk offline about getting you back on for the whole Miranda's talk. If somebody wanted to get into Miranda's, what would the minimum investment amount be?
So we're going to be going to the public DAO soon, where each coin in the pre-seed phase and seed phase will be around 10 cents to 11 cents. But right now, people have to buy in via one of the 5 DAOs. So currently the Miranda's DAO, when we originally started raising, was 1,100, but now we're at 2,400 for each token. But the Axie Infinity DAO is 0.04 ETH, so it's like 180 bucks. The Illuvium DAO is 0.03 ETH, the Echoes of Empire 0.04 ETH, Guild of Guardians 0.06. So each of them is repricing as the assets change value. And because we were, for the Miranda's one, we had to have a high initial price because everything was, for setting up the infrastructure. But now all the other DAOs were able to, make them a much cheaper point of entry. The percentage they go up is still based on the underlying assets, but the starting point was lower. So for Miranda's, people mostly come in now with assets. So they'll come in with a building. They'll say, hey, I've got this building. How many tokens could you give me if I bring in what I've already got?
Got you. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And if
there'll definitely be more. So there'll definitely be more info as we go into the pre-seed and the seed phase now. So anyone will be able to come in. That's why we're going layer 2. We want everyone. I may sound like this, but I'm not a snob. And so
I don't think you sound like a snob.
Yeah, I really want everyone in the community. I love the idea that, you know, people who own their own home take care of their lawn, right? And so for me, it's so important that people can come in with $20, $30 and say, I own part of this community. I'm in this community. So that's why we wanted to be layer 2 and have 10 cent kind of coins so people could get in and be part of it.
If they wanted to pay you in cash instead of like Fiat instead of ETH, would that be a possibility, or it's only through ETH?
It's all in crypto. We can sort out any crypto, but everyone's trying to avoid taking fiat right now because of everyone's reporting and everything else.
Got you.
But yeah, USDC is fine. We can, Wax is fine. We can convert. You know, thanks to Binance, we can
Wax
solve
is
everything.
fine.
But
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
to
all
know.
cryptos are fine. All cryptos are fine.
All right, that's good to know. I mean,
Apex isn't sellable, so you know, we want it to be, but. Yeah.
Cool.
Originally, 4 of the token holders bought in with Apex because Apex was still allowed to be sold at that point.
Wow.
So, but then the law, the Crown told us we can't anymore. So
The Crown told us. I love that. I love even more the way you say that. The Crown told us we can't.
If people wanted to find out more, what's the best way to contact you?
they come to the server. I really like the idea that the DAO should be a public forum. We're going to have all of our votes on Snapshot and stuff. And so we've unlocked all of the rooms for viewing rights. So anyone can come and see how the DAO's voting, how the DAO's discussing things. Anyone can request from me a list right now of all the token holders. We send them a spreadsheet. And then right now, until we go to the public DAO, everything is represented with NFT tokens on the Wax network. So we send them a coin so that we can, you know, that's their receipt right now to be able to see how many tokens they hold. So yeah, they can just come into the Crown Capital server and just poke around and ask questions. And yeah.
Well, save me a coin.
And let me toss your website as well. Here's a website. We just got our website built. Here we go.
I was just looking at that before, actually.
Yeah.
So the website just went up because we just sent in our application. And so if they click on tokenomics, they can read the full white paper that also came out. Where am I able to? Yeah.
I'm going to build up my Wax for a coin, so save me one.
Perfect. Yeah.
As Rimmer would say, smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for breakfast. Oh, but you don't watch Red Dwarf.
Not yet. I may have to now. Yeah. Awesome.
We'll definitely have to follow up with you for a part 2 for sure, because as I said, I think we've kind of touched very lightly on several different things, but we haven't really dove into anything. So
yeah,
we shall.
I think we gave Upland a good summary.
Yeah.
I think Upland got its fair share. But the other stuff is just starting right now. I mean, the DAO is only 6 weeks old, and hopefully we have a public token by January the 5th. So we're moving at like lightning speed.
Yeah.
But that's the pace. Everyone's trying to get stuff done before Christmas. So it's just like. Yeah. You know, someone's like, well, this isn't so organized. I'm like, I know, we're running with our pants down. Sorry, not sorry, but we're all sold out, right? I mean,
as we all are. So.
Yeah.
So January 6th. So we'll meet you again, January 11th.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, that should work.
January 11th, January 12th. Well, thank you so much for coming on here and talking with us. I learned a lot more. I'm way more interested now in Miranda's. And I'm going to be saving up my Wax and
cool.
Poking.
Yeah, come. We've got specific lounges in Crown Capital server. So come and ask all your hard questions and let everyone geek out with you. Because we've like the server's been blowing up because we're getting all this free marketing to all these other gaming servers. And so it's just so interesting to see all the different people that are coming in, right? Like the Upland community is a very cool community, but it's a very specific community. You've got it into like either traditional investors or early crypto coin investors, not so much heavy gamers, right? And now we've got all these heavy gamers coming in from, I ran a guild in World of Warcraft for 20 years and this is going to be amazing. And so it's so cool. And we run like a free poker tournament on Sunday. where
Okay.
anyone can just join. I sponsor the prizes because I felt that poker was like this common language that everyone understood. So it's cool to see this kind of communication going on.
Yeah. The thing, Ben, sickos.
I've already got that sorted. Don't you worry.
All right, but we got to tell them to go to. the
No, I'll do
Octavius-
that on the back end.
All right. I'll leave that to you. You're the sicko master.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up then. Thank you so much, and
Yep.
we'll keep in
Thank you
touch
both, and
later.
have a good evening and a good morning, I think.
That's
Yeah.
the one.
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay, cheers.
Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Talk wine and cheese, motherfucker. Go ahead, get your pinky up. Go ahead, get your pinky up.
G'day, sickos. Okay, for this episode's challenge, follow the link to the Crown Capital Discord, then drop a post in there that tags Morecheese and mention you heard Octavius on the Whine and Cheese show. Later.
Fire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get active right. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. People let fire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky. People let fire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Cheese in the house, get active right. Hit you with the hairbrush, hit you with the knife. People let fire, samurai, riding on the dingo, flying through the sky. Hit you with the knife, flying through the sky.